Chapter 5, 159, Immortal Venerable's Will, Refining 88. True Yang building might sound like an absurd idea, but it was not wishful thinking. In truth, Fang Yuan was not the first person to refine 88 True Yang building. In his former 500 years, when Central Continent Gu Immortals attacked Imperial Court Blessed Land, they first sent some Gu masters to infiltrate 88 True Yang building's treasure room. After they succeeded, they released the entire procedure after recording it with Gu worms, announcing it to the world. Imperial Court Blessed Land was the spiritual symbol for Northern Plains Gu masters. It had great importance. The recording of Imperial Court Blessed Land being taken down was spread over the 5 regions. It not only displayed Central Continent's strength, it was also a poisonous needle intended to destroy Northern Plains Gu masters' mental support. Most importantly, this recording also proved that Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had snatched Gu worms all over Northern Plains in order to benefit his descendants. Once the recording was released, Northern Plains was in huge turmoil as the masses went into an uproar. Although the Huangjin tribe suppressed the situation and the internal chaos did not reach the level that Central Continent Gu Immortals hoped, it did create a Northern Plains where the people's hearts wavered and undercurrents were flowing. Central Continent Gu Immortal Song. Che Xing, after seeing this video, gave an accurate prediction. Once this video is spread all over the region, the spirit of freedom in Northern Plains would be released from Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's prison. Fang Yan naturally had a vivid memory of this video. After his rebirth, he immediately realized the huge value of this video. For this trip to Northern Plains, saving Donghun Mountain was merely one of his objectives. Fang Yuan was a careful person. He often considered failure before success. How can there be something as good as success as one wishes in this world? If I fail to save Donghun Mountain, I can at least seek other forms of compensation inside 88 True Yang building. The video of Central Continent Gu Immortals taking down Imperial Court Blessed Land had great reference value for Fang Yuan. But just this clip was not enough. Fang Yuan could only see what happened on the surface from this clip. But luckily, Fang Yuan had obtained first-hand information from Lang Ya Land Spirit. Because of this, by fusing theory with practice, Fang Yuan had much greater confidence in refining 88 True Yang building. With my current cultivation level, it is impossible to fully refine 88 True Yang building, but I can refine a portion of it. Fang Yuan was very clear of the reality. He was only a mortal Gu master. One had to be at least a rank 8 Gu Immortal to refine the Immortal Gu house. In Fang Yuan's plans, he only wanted to refine a portion of 88 True Yang building. 88. True Yang building had existed for a very long time. It was worn down and had loopholes secretly. It was too grand, too majestic, like a giant wooden cage. Fang Yuan was like a termite compared to it. The strength of a termite could not destroy the entire wooden cage, but it could devour the edges. The difficulty of the two was as great as heaven and earth. The guest halt stele in front of him, after a specialized Gu worm entered it, gave off a faint yellow light. Fang Yuan stretched out his palms in the meantime, injecting his aperture's primeval essence into it. At the same time, his will entered the guest halt stele, following the primeval essence. Gu masters refine Gu. It was to occupy the Gu worm's body with their will. And during this process, primeval essence was the perfect carrier. Fang Yuan's brows were tightly knotted as his mind entered the stele. The guest halt stele was only a portion of 88 True Yang building. 88. True Yang building was a rank 8 Immortal Gu house. It was way too big. Once Fang Yuan's will entered, he felt that he was in a sea of darkness. In this endless darkness, there was a sun-like existence. It gave off a weak light, which moved in waves like that of breathing. This is Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's will? Fang Yuan's mind went into high alert. 88. True Yang building was Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's property. Since he refined it, his will was naturally inside the Immortal Gu. Although Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's body had perished long ago, this will that he injected had survived while slumbering within this shell. Such a will is really grand. I feel like I am facing a real sun. Immortal venerables have unthinkable strength. This is merely a small portion of giant sun Immortal Venerable's will, left behind and weakened after such a long time. Thankfully, this will is currently unconscious. If I move carefully, it should not be alerted. I must not wake it up. Otherwise, what happened to those two central continent goo immortals, whose souls were dispersed in the video, will happen to me. The vast dark space represents the 88 True Yang building. Giant sun. Immortal Venerable's remnant will was like the sun, in the center, emitting a weak light as it slept. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan's will was like a sesame compared to it. He also gave off a weak light, but he was lurking at the furthest corner of the entire area. Fang Yuan continued to inject primeval essence, slowly and carefully. As the primeval essence entered the guest halt daily, the amount of his will that was inside 88 True Yang building increased. In the dark corner, the light that represented Fang Yuan was expanding, gradually repelling a portion of the darkness, gaining some territory for itself. Time passed second by second. Fang Yuan was very careful. His forehead was soon full of sweat. To think that refining this stele would be so difficult. With my 2 rank 5 peak stage apertures at 90% capacity, it was still not enough. If not for the Heavenly Essence Treasure King Lotus, I might have faced even more trouble. 4 hours passed. Fang Yuan finally breathed out a sigh as he pulled back his palms from the stele. He was extremely tired, mostly from the mental stress. It was more precarious than walking on a tightrope. I finally succeeded. Fang Yuan looked at the guest halt stele before him. A sense of closeness emitted from the stele into the deep parts of his heart. But the joy of success quickly faded as Fang Yuan frowned even more deeply. There were indeed many deleted scenes in the video that was shown in my previous life. I spent so much primeval essence, but the Goo Master in the clip was only rank 5 middle stage. Yet he did not take any breaks in the middle, only spending an hour to refine it. Maybe the Goo Master had some assistance goo worms in his aperture, but Fang Yuan was more inclined to believe that there was more than meets the eye. The reason why Central Continent Goo Immortals released this video was to deal a crushing blow to the Huangjin tribes, to release the spirit of freedom in other Northern Plains tribes. Deep into the 88 True Yang building, there were definitely gains or methods that could not be publicly shown. At the same time, to make the video more concise and interesting so that people would watch it, the boring and mundane parts were definitely deleted. That had certainly happened. But this was bad news to Fang Yuan. Refining the 88 True Yang building was a very dangerous act. If he was misled by the video, one mistake would end his life. 88 True Yang building is truly phenomenal. I spent so much time, but I have not even refined 0.5% of it. Fang Yuan sighed as he patted the guest hall stele, standing up. If he looked at 88 True Yang building as 100%, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's remnant would occupy 30% of it. Out of 100%, after refining the guest hall stele, Fang Yuan's refinement of the building was still less than 0.5%. But even so, Fang Yuan's lips curled into a smile. He turned around, talking a few steps back, and casually came to a crystal wall that had sealed some treasures. His gaze concentrated as he stretched out his arm towards the wall. If it was before, the crystal wall would be like an ice wall, blocking his hand. But now the guest halt stele shone slightly, and the crystal wall turned hollow. Fang Yuan's arm successfully entered the wall like it had gone into a water wall, taking the treasure out from inside. Once he refined the guest halt stele, any treasure inside this section of the crystal wall could be taken out at will. Fang Yuan did not have to pay any price. Oh, this must be the Rush Thunderstone. Looking at the treasure in his hand, Fang Yuan had to appraise it carefully before confirming his guess. Rush Thunderstone was quite a rare goo refinement material. It was nearly extinct now. It was very rare even inside Treasure Yellow Heaven, only sold once in a while. This stone was created from the essence of lightning and thunder when the thunder in the 9 heavens exploded together. But ever since the immemorial era, 7 of the 9 heavens fell, Only white and black heaven were left. The chances of these two heavens, thunder and lightning clashing, were very low. Thus, after the immemorial era, the production of rush thunderstones fell drastically. When Thunderpath was flourishing, large numbers of rush thunderstones were used to refine goo. Thus, the remaining stock of rush thunderstones now was low. Heaven and earth is ever-changing. As time passed, Thunderpath also changed and no longer needed rush thunderstones. Only those goo masters, or goo immortals, who wanted to research immemorial Thunderpath goo worms would be interested in rush thunderstones. The value of the treasure room was extremely high. Just a casual treasure that Fang Yuan took was a rush thunderstone. But soon after, Fang Yuan returned the rush thunderstone back to the crystal wall. Small greed ruins big plans. Because exchange was needed to obtain treasures, the total treasure amount in the crystal walls was always the same. Every item here was recorded by all the super forces, or even large-sized Huangjin tribes. If someone obtained high-grade evaluation and came here later, they would find that treasures were missing. That would lead to great suspicion and shock. Fang Yuan felt no pity. After testing for a while, he walked toward the deeper parts of the crystal path. Arriving at the guest halt steadily once again, his footsteps became slower. A few hours ago, the invisible wall that blocked him had vanished, but this did not mean that he could enter safely. 88. True Yang Building was created by long-hair ancestor. It obviously had other defensive measures, but Fang Yuan was prepared for them. He willed, and at once 5 to 6 mystical goo worms flew out of his aperture, turning into lumps of colorful smoke as they surrounded him. Fang Yuan checked again, and after ensuring that he was fully covered, he walked past the guest halt steadily. Smoke of all colors rumbled as they formed into a flash of bloodlight, spreading out. Fang Yuan looked around, finding that the treasures in the crystal walls were better than the previous segment by a tier. "Oh, this is..." Fang Yuan's gaze froze for a second as he saw a rank 5-strength path goo worm inside the crystal wall. He was overjoyed.